just saw, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy Ra1, and this is Sparking Conversation, and y'all know what I do each and every week. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people, and today I'm going to do the same thing. But before we get into that, I have to do like I do each and every week. I have to give it up to all the people that download the audio version of this platform. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. I want y'all to know that each and every day, because I know people get lost in translation when it comes to this podcast game. They think it's about the visual, and it really is not. It helps, but it's not. It's about your audio. So the fact that people are downloading it and they're listening to what you and your guests have to say, that's very important. And you always have to be grateful, because you know how it go, y'all. We come out here and we start these things, and we have dreams and we have visions of things just being huge or just going the way that we wanted to go. And we understand that there's really no elevator to it. We got to take the stairs. And for some people, it take a little bit longer than others. And for sometimes that can be discouraging to people. But if you stay in focus and you're being thankful for, even if you get one listener, two listeners, be thankful for them. Show up each and every time for them, even if you don't have the million of listeners yet, right? So that's the vibe we on. So that's why I'm thankful. And I open up the show every week with thank you to those very people, because like I said, it's important. Because, at one point or soon, it'll be millions of downloads, right? Or and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, those few people who are jumping out the window early, that's paying attention early, they're always going to be in the mix, right? Because they understand the value. And I think that's the main thing about this platform that I don't give myself enough credit for, is the value that it adds to people who come on. Because so often I think about it, everybody's in this thing for content. Everybody needs content. If you have a story to tell and you come on somebody's podcast, it's content. You need the content. And then when I notice is that people get the content and then they do nothing with it. They come on certain places and then they get nothing with it. But I hope that changes the narrative going forward, because there's so many people who come and they tell their story, and then I help with the content, because look, I create little clips for them and everything else, so they can go ahead and share it and move it around to all the people that they want to hear their story, to bring it back to their story, especially if they're selling books or whatever it is that they're doing. And I really hope that people start to pay attention and take advantage of that, and not just look at it as, oh, okay, I'm just going to show up and talk and tell what I want to tell and then go on about their business to the next one. Remember, this is about content. I mean, I hope that they understand that, right? So outside of that, thank all of y'all. To everybody else, y'all know the vibes, man. Thank y'all for pushing play. Y'all know what today is, man. Today, Oob Lifted Part 26 dropped, and so many of y'all push play already. Thank y'all so much for continuously supporting your boy in my filming journey, because look, it's a journey I'm on for real, but I don't want people to really sleep on it. I'm really building something in the background. But for those people that I am a part of, or the people that have been coming around, y'all know I appreciate y'all, but we're going to continue to put in this work. So for those of y'all that like a little comedy, y'all like to laugh a little bit, because the world is dark right now. We're going to talk about a little bit of that. But look, it's dark. So you need those moments where you can break away from the darkness, just have a little fun, just think about it, because the dark going to still be there. I heard some things this week that made me really think about it. They says from the dark comes the light, and from the light comes the dark. So technically, it's about which way we want to see from which angle. So glass half empty, half full, however you want to project that. It's about your mindset and how you see things. So thank you for all of y'all that has already pushed play for that. Everyone else, y'all know the vibes. We Don't Wait, We Create Part 2 going down in August, Saturday, August 22nd. We got Vincent M. Ward from The Walking Dead in the building. He has a new movie, Stepdaddy. He has another one, Devereaux, coming at the end of the year. He's in another movie that's coming out with about he was part of a record label. It's crazy. It's a horror film. And so I just want y'all to continuously understand the type of what I'm trying to bring to the system, right? Right? because he's going to be the main guest. But then we have other guests that we have coming, because I want to make sure that people understand you can take yourself seriously. If this is your gift, if this is you, right? I tell you, the hardest thing for most people to be is themselves. But when it comes down to your passion and your dreams, it don't have an age on it, don't have a color, it don't have all a height and all that other stuff that people try to pigeonhole and put people in a box. So listen, you always had a dream of being yourself. It's just that everything else came before you, and I get that. But at the end of the day, we don't wait, we create. That's just exactly what it means. We're not, and I hope you don't. All right. So if you want to be in the building, I want you to get those tickets. The collectiveevents.net. You know what to do. Get those tickets. The link is in the description, and be in the building. All right. What else we have for y'all before we get into things? All right, so look, y'all, we talk about health on this platform all the time, right? Health is wealth. We want to make sure that y'all know. I need all of y'all to go out there, do your research on the effects of parasites in the body. Okay, and if though any of them symptoms are things that you're dealing with, or that you didn't really know what was going on with you, but now you do, then I'm telling y'all, click the link in the description, and we need y'all to get on it. The parasite detox is there. Help yourself. There's nobody coming to help us. All right, you got to help yourself in this particular stage. All right, you got to help yourself. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna do that. We're gonna chill right there, man. All right, because I gotta get into my rant before I bring in my guests. And yeah, so many people we talk. Like I say, thank y'all for supporting your boy, and those of y'all that hit me during the week, or just hit me in general, asking my opinion on things and seeing if I'm gonna talk about it on the platform. And today I am, because what is looking like in America for people who look like me. Now I know I get into some types of conversations with people when I tell them I don't like to identify as a color, right? Because a color means nothing, right? A color is just a color. That gives us no heritage, no lineage to nothing, but just a color. And I wonder that, like, out of all the people in the world, why do we have to be identified as a color? People can have their title, they could be from wherever they're from and all these other things, but they don't have to identify as a color. But we do. Then you come to, you're in America, right? And then, they have people who look like me labeled as African American, as if to say, because they're not from here originally. But then they have so many Europeans here who don't have to recognize themselves as European Americans. They could just be Americans. People that, they're born here, right? Don't have to be identified as a color. They don't have to be identified as anything else but just whatever they want. But for us, we have to be that. So then in Louisiana, I did see what was going on in Louisiana. The governor, he suspended the whole, joint down there and caused a whole bunch of black representation not to, in Congress no more, right? The Senate, right? And so many people are reverting back to the thought about, they're trying to reverse, go all the way back, bring slavery back and all these other things. And for some reason, I keep wanting to find, where, for those of us that look like us, why are we like, I get it, right? I do get it, but then I don't understand why we're in such of a place where we're so concerned about what another person is going to do about us, because we don't do about us for us. That's the point. And then now it's so crazy how we've been divided and separated for so long, right? And then at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it takes certain things like this to help us to understand that you always needed each other. Because what it does is that I hope a lot of people understand, like, this just don't affect people who look like me. It's just the people who look like me, the ones who died and gave their life for the rights for other people to come from other places and be here and have those same civil rights. The only thing is that I think those people still looking at it as a black thing and not understanding it's going to affect them too. It's a lot of things going on in this world where people are blinded by things just because of how they look. People look at the shades and skin colors and thinking all these other things, and they put things in a perspective as if that's what's going to keep them together. That's what classifies them in a certain place, and it does not. And I hope y'all understand that, because it's going to affect you too. right? The Latino population is going to affect you too. Any immigration situation that's going on is going to affect you too. So I hope y'all understand that. They just all right. So another thing, because I got to bring my guest up, but another thing, I saw y'all saw that too, where you know, man, they came up with some type of situation saying that all the people that was in the Epstein files are not going to be prosecuted. Now, look, we talked about that before. For all the people that was I mean, investing in wanting to know what was on these files, y'all. Listen, for what reason is what I always ask, because nothing is going to happen to them. You see what happened to Bill Cosby, you see what happened to Diddy, you see what happened to R. Kelly and anybody else like that. When they wrong, they go. These other people, they've been wrong and they doing stuff to kids and everybody else, and there ain't nothing going to happen to them. So at the end of the day, this is what I keep telling y'all. The reason why it's like that, because emotionally is all we're given out here in this world. And it's crazy that that's the only way that we can react to things and emotionally and not be intelligent enough to figure the things out that we need to figure out. Now, look, there's no need for me to come up here and start dropping off, ideas and saying, yo, we should be doing this, that, and the third. That's not the vibe, because at the end of the day, all that's going to do is just make people that are not doing nothing or will not do nothing just have another person that they could throw darts at, which would be me. So that ain't my vibe. My vibe is just to understand that if people are going to react to things and you come to me, ask me what my opinion is, I'm just going to give it to you, right? Because, freedom should be the ultimate fight for all of us. I don't know. But just in my opinion, it should be the ultimate fight for each and every person that's living right now is freedom. And it shouldn't have to come at the expense of other people just because of their dollar amount that they carry. Or it shouldn't come at that expense. That's why I say it's so hard for people to be themselves. But listen, man, let's switch gears real quick because I can't get into that too much longer, right? Because I have a whole bunch of other stuff that could be said about it. I have clips and videos and all other things to back up what I'm saying, so people don't think that I'm just out here talking emotionally too. But we ain't about that. I got a guest today. And so I'm about to bring my guest up so we can get into his world and figure out what's going on with him. And the energy, y'all, the energy that I always like to put on Sparking Conversation is that's what this platform is about. This platform is about sparking conversation, having people to be able to have conversations with people no matter what walk of life they is all across the world. Why? Because everybody needs dialogue. There's nobody meant to be by themselves. I don't care how much they by themselves, right? So look, let's bring my guest up, y'all, all right? Because we got to get into his world real quick. Let's see. Hey, what's going on?
Hello, hello. What's up?
Ain't nothing. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm so glad to have you on the platform this evening.
Thank you.
If yeah. If you don't mind, can you introduce yourself to the audience and then just let them know why you're on the platform this evening?
Yeah, I'm Patrice BISIOT. I'm an executive coach. I'm from Paris originally, and I'm here to transform lives. And it go very much what you said earlier. It resonated very much about being yourself, authenticity. That is what people struggle the most with. So in the executive branding that I do, it's really about understanding alignment, understanding show up as yourself, stop being who you're not and try not to please the crowd. Actually, don't please the crowd because at some point, no matter what, there is a group that's not going to like you anyway. So might as well be you. And the group that doesn't like you, well, they're going to go away and that's it. So that's what I do. I'm also a keynote speaker and an author, which I'm about to release my third book, Mind Your Brand, because understanding that branding is not this tips and tricks on marketing and your bio on LinkedIn. It's about actually how do you go about alignment? How do you show up as you? How do you identify what you have to tell the world and show the world? And how does it look like, within all the clues you give and you put in front of you and on you? And that's how you show up at that nanosecond impact you make when you walk into the room. That's the only one that counts because that's the only one everyone will ever remember. So you might as well make it count and make it the real you.
Right. I like that, man. I like that a lot. So that's what it's about, mindset, right? So you can basically say you coach people on the mindset on the executive level, right?
Yes.
That is amazing. So listen, let's talk a little bit about your background before we get too much into what's going on now. How did you get started in this particular field of motivating people in that high of a, a regard in corporate America.
Yep. Actually, it started out so in Paris. I started out where, as a kid, I was very clear about three things. I was going to be an artist. I was going to do something creative, something that made a difference in just the creativeness of it. I was going to be an entrepreneur because working for the man, I couldn't do that. So that was, I had to be free and make my own, decisions and all, and transforming lives, transformative in a way of making a difference in his planet. I remember being, a kid and feeling, between the injustices and a lot of things that you said resonated with me because, in France, we're much more like the news are not just the news around you, it's the news globally. So feeling like, yeah, I want to make a difference. One day I'm going to solve hunger. I remember for me, my obsession was hunger in Africa to see all those kids. And I'm like, why am I like eating whatever I want and they can't? So anyway, so all that together was like, I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like until I realized, I love art and I love craft and I love, so hair started to be the beginning of my journey. So as a hairstylist, I worked for one of the biggest name in France. And by the age of 18, I was managing 3 salons in Paris for that brand. And I understood now that the management, the leading, that role was something that fitted me, but I wanted more. So more became, I moved to the US at 18. My boss gave me a manager position in a salon in Bar Harbor in Miami, which is basically the luxury of all luxuries. That mall is just every brand on earth is there. And a year later, I realized, forget it. This is not for me. I can't work for the man. It's no way. So I opened my own business and then I met who became my publicist in Beverly Hills. And then I started working with Hollywood, celebrities, global leaders, high-level thinkers with their image, the look, the hair, the appearance. And then it became from hairstyling to styling to understanding how to help them presenting themselves. But in the process of all that, I'm like, but hold on. Appearance is only the last part of your journey. What you need to do is telling the world who you are, because that moment you walk on the red carpet in front of the media or in a boardroom, the premise is the same. What impact do you want to make? How do you want people to receive you as a being when you show up? What are the clues you want to give them so they can instantly, because, neuroscience says a nanosecond is enough for, all the visual cues you have in front of you to get into your brain and make it a piece of judgment, which is not judgment, really, it's assessment. So that said, I started taking my client through that journey of being that. And in the middle of all that, also was building a lot of businesses. I was obsessed with, ambition and the system and the money and more money. And then 2000 came around, 2010, I lost everything, got stolen by my business partner, was nothing but a common thief. And then I ended up sleeping in my car. And that moment to me was the turning point of saying, all right, all of this is gone. Like literally within 30 days, I lost my 4 businesses. He stole the money, left me with a huge loan, and then I had nothing to show for. So now I owe all that money. But in that luxury level of life that I built from the time I was 18 to suddenly sleeping in my car, now I had to revisit my vision, mission, and purpose. And that's when I realized, okay. This is crazy. What do I do with that? So, of course, I had the darkest ideas that came to me for a second because I always justified my life from possessions and my bank account and what I owned until realizing, no. I'm enough on earth. I'm enough with the space I occupy. I have plenty to offer. And this is when I started. I was still working actually heavily with celebrities. I moved from Miami to Beverly Hills, and then I started working with, with celebrities and all that until I say, you know what, this is nonsense and this is not fulfilling anymore. I need to follow my own path. And this is when I wrote my first book, which got endorsed by a keynote agent in New York. And that's when I started doing a lot of female empowerment because that's always been obviously very predominant in my career. That said, starting doing keynotes and understanding, wow, I am transforming lives. I am helping people to understand who they are in the core of them. A second book came around, and then it became so that the second was Mind Your Impact. And Mind Your Impact is the story of saying, be mindful. The way you present yourself is not just some wardrobe experience. It's about telling the world who you are. So be mindful, and that across from you will react for a yes or a no upon business, personal, anything. That's going to be that moment in time where everything will shift one side or the other. And now my third book, Mind Your Brand, is about understanding, relax with the whole idea of branding and the whole faking and the followers and all that. No, your brand is who you bring when you walk into the room. That is your brand, and that's how you're going to build success. And that's 25 years later.
Man, hey, yo, listen, because what I like is because what I notice about so many people who are in the space of where you are, right? It's that loss that they took, right? That really shifted them into their purpose. Because I always say people that the road to their purpose is never straight. Sometimes people have to be forced into it because of other things. We have free will. And what I noticed that what you said was, those things that you have, the possessions and the money and all these different things were the things that you felt like was valuable until those things were taken away and you found out that you got all those things because you were the value. So that's why I feel like it's so important that I tell people all the time about it's okay to be you because the value is in you. It's okay. If and I like that because being creative and you're an artist and it goes so much, it resonates with everything I'm saying. And I just want you to just talk a little bit about that. Do you think that you would have become who you are now if you didn't suffer that sleeping in a car moment? Or
No,
do you
absolutely
that you
no.
would
No, I would have never been that guy because that's the thing. I come from a very, very normal background. I mean, not poor, but believe me, there was no any excess of any sort. So, so I really saw everything on, you are who you are by what you own, how much money you have, how many cars, how many homes, how many everything. So, and it became an obsession. And my business partner actually was the worst influence on me, and I was still very insecure and I was still looking for my space on earth. And I thought, again, celebrating, the status and all that was really what made me who I was. I was respected in Miami and I was it. And him next to me, obsessed with money too. And that's why he stole from me all along, as well as he did at the very end when he cleaned out all the accounts. But no, when people say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry for you," and I say, "No, no, 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 you don't understand. This was the best experience I've ever had." Then people think and I'm like, "No, I promise, I'm not even on drugs because I don't do drugs. I'm serious. It was just a moment in time where I'm like, okay, do I go left or do I go right? That's it. There is no many ways to do." And realizing that, wow, hold on, I came here with nothing in this country. I didn't have a penny to build what I built. And then, so that means, okay, I have all of that. That experience is the gift. That is the true value of who I am. And
Mm,
by that experience, absolutely, it made me who I am. The humility, the humbleness, the gratefulness I was never able to display before, able to be sensitive to every corner you drive and there's a homeless and there's always
yeah.
it's only for them to realize, you know what? Even if I go with my own drama, maybe this morning I woke up and I was a little out of alignment, and I don't know because I'm working on a deal and that deal doesn't go through, and this to realize what am I talking about? What is that drama and that chatterbox that goes on and on and on? To realize those people they would trade their lives with mine in a second. So shut up and enjoy life, and that's it. And that to me, that is the moment that is empowerment where you can feel that gratitude instantly and not having to think of it as a Instagram quote, but actually living it every day.
I like that, man. Yo, that's the right energy to be in for real. Because I think it's through those moments, right, that we find out exactly who we are. It's not in the up times, right? It's not when we have those things, because whenever we have those things, we expect it based on the work we put in. But then when things go south and they go, and then it's always someone else that do it to you, right? Like it's a thing where they say that they use the person closest to you is the one used to always bring you to some type of revelation about yourself, right? For some people, it could be their family members, or like you said, a business partner, or something about it. And it's got to, and when you are creative, and then it comes down to the fact of you actually understanding what your purpose is, and that what you was given, like the gift that you was given. That's when you discover it. You discover it in the lesson, not in the when you have everything. So man, I'm glad you said that, man, because you know, on this platform, I get a lot of people who tell that portion, and I think that's the most important part for people to get, because long as a person know that you can tell them something, they got to know that you're speaking from a place of, because you have the experience, not just because you woke up one day and said, "Hey, I want to be a coach." No, you've been up and down,
Yeah, and I
and
lived
you,
it from the time I was a kid. Like really, I was always about
yeah,
that. The transformation was something deeper, far deeper than the hair. It was really about changing someone's. I mean, when you have a woman and she comes for a hair makeover, you see that was like the empowerment. I mean, she leaves feeling like a movie star, and that is the
right,
transformation and the process of seeing that change and seeing the reaction from the before and after. That is the gold where it's like, what that is what empowerment looks like. That's what alignment looks like. That's what everything coming together, congruence between who you are and how you show up is. And yes, of course, I've been living it from the time I was a kid. So it's only an evolution that it got into coaching instead of just staying on the aesthetic surface of it and just the
mm,
image. It became much deeper, but I was already doing the deeper work as I was even doing hair, asking clients a
yeah.
bunch of questions to say, wait, until you think that I'm the magician, what do you want to accomplish after that makeover? How do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? How do you want people to perceive you? And that's where I understood I've always done that.
Right, right. Not just about, making it look good, but making it feel good as well. That's great, because that's what people and I noticed that too. Whenever, especially when it comes down to, people and their aesthetics, that make them feel a certain way. But then they don't feel that way until they get that, right? But I get where you come from, because you're saying like it's the mindset. You're already that without it. Like it'll help you, but you're already that. Without, if you can understand that, it won't make you feel as bad in between the times when you can't get those things that you may want. You still know your value in between your hairdos, so to speak, I guess. But so let's do this then, man. So when you came to the US and you went to Miami, was that your first trip to the US ever? Because I mean, you're fairly young at this point. So how was culturally, was it a big shock for you, or was it so kind of close? Because Paris, y'all lit out there, man.
Yeah. It was culture shock. So yes, it was my first international. Oh, international. No, I flew international within Europe, but America, first time, first everything, which was crazy. That was, I mean, it was a challenge because when my boss offered me, because I kept on begging him, I want more. And he's like, more. You're 18 years old. You're managing 3 salons of mine. I mean, and not, believe me, big salons with one of the biggest names. So I was like, yeah, but there's so much more to experience from life. So anyway, when I got with my boss, I mean, his wife, but she was actually, the name of the salon was his wife because she was originally the hairstylist. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm on a plane. I don't know what Miami looks like, what America looks like, but it's a good old dream. I always had that in my head. America, larger than life, stardom, People magazine, Hollywood. So there was always this fantasy I had in mind that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to come. And one day I'll have celebrities as clients, which I did. But it was crazy. And the culture shock was insane. I remember we going to the supermarket because my boss goes, all right, let's go to the supermarket and buy stuff, for tomorrow because we have nothing to eat for tomorrow for breakfast. And it was that girl and the length of her nails. And I remember, and she couldn't type, of course, because you can't, So,
Yeah.
and I say to my boss, I say, are they real? She's like, no, honey, no, they're fake. I'm like, but that's very long. And then she's like, yeah, oh yeah, you're gonna see that a lot. And of course, and then everything became so different. And realizing, for instance, the question when people ask, socially, what do you do? I remember at the beginning, what do I do? What do you mean, what do I do? Well, I stand, I'm looking at you, I don't know, what am I doing? Oh, you mean my career? And I thought, well, that's weird. Don't you want to know more about who we are before we go there? And all those things became like, like success in America is how much money do you have? Success in Europe is how happy are you? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have dogs? Do you go on vacation? I don't know what car, do you love driving? Or it's something fun, something that experience, not the
Yeah.
bank account, balance. And that, all those things, of course, I had to go about it to say, wow, there's a huge adjustment to be made. So yeah, it was big.
Yeah, I'm sure because Miami. That's what I'm thinking. You come into Miami at such a young age, and Miami is that spot. I mean, everything is larger than life. All the cars, all the jewelry, all the designer high end brands you can see, all the celebrities you can possibly look at, and then just regular people there, and and then that whole imagery thing is really big down there too. So I'm sure once you got into working, you probably was really like, yeah, because I'm sure y'all stay busy because that's all it is image down in Miami. So I'm sure that helped out. Now, did that start your celebrity connection from Miami before you went to Beverly Hills? Because I noticed early in your story, you went from, you said something about a connection from here to there. So that's a really big jump, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah. Although I was always in the luxury market, so that was already something I was very familiar with. So because the brand
Okay.
from Paris I was working with were like really the top three brands. So I was already, used to that social level. And then what happened is I did an event and I was closing the event. It was a runway, but I closed the event, and that's where I met this first. I mean, I was working with this guy. He was a producer. He did a bunch of shows. And then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna meet my business partner. She's coming from Beverly Hills, and she's the owner of the PR firm that I work with." So, oh, cool, whatever. And that's why we, started talking. And she said, "No, you belong in Hollywood. You don't, not here. Believe me, I'm gonna put you on the red carpet, and now we can make something happen. And now we're gonna build your brand. Talk about branding." And I was like, "Whoa, yes, like now this is." What I want to do. And that's how I started crossing over because by having her on payroll, but I had her starting introducing me and doing the Oscars. I did the Oscars for 15 years, like a lot of the award shows. So that's how everything started coming into my life as far as Hollywood goes.
Wow. So you skipped New York?
Now in New York, then I started building a clientele in New York. Actually, I lived even, I had an apartment in New York until COVID because COVID just transformed Manhattan. A
Yeah, it
great
was
deal.
terrible.
But
Yeah, it's
until
terrible.
COVID, yeah, I was renting a place in Midtown, and I loved it. But then, but so yeah, I always travel. I'm always on an airplane. So it's New York, LA, and Miami.
Wow. So in between that, whenever you decided that you were going to do the coaching part, are you less behind the chair now, or how does that work? Because your books. Because I want to talk about your books in a second, but in that transition, are you still behind the chair, or are you mostly just on the coaching, speaking, author end of things now?
Okay, so my business model changed in 2010 when I lost everything, and everything. I mean, the salon was gone because actually the building I was in, my landlord was a billionaire. Say, listen, Patrice. I mean, I don't need to have that. All my tenants are leaving. I'm not gonna have like three stores in there. I'd rather shut it down completely. It's less costly. Okay, what do I do now? And that's when I started actually renting chairs around the country to go to see my clients and realizing, but this is not fun enough. I'm going to go to them now. And then, so little by little, my business model changed into a custom service and a house call. And then, of course, the coaching coming into play started being also like so fulfilling and also having something now that I'm challenged with that I can do a different part of my life with. I started, yeah, dropping clients. I still do some because I have some very prestigious clients and I love them and we friends. I mean, we're not clients and hairstylists anymore, but the coaching definitely takes. And now I want my keynote speaking to really like take off the biggest way, which hair will become a thing of the past soon because then, between the coaching and the keynote, it's plenty already.
Right, 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 right. But you would say that would be your passion right now. What was it be your first passion? Because now you learning that the other thing is what you're more passionate about because it's sort of like you're doing the same thing, just using a different tool, right? At
Yes,
one point you
my aha. You
mhm.
see, my aha moment was the first time I did my first keynote, and it was about 350 people in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, hold on, this is the thing. I can help people, and instead of one at a time, now I can actually help people, but like hundreds at a time." And to me, there was the power of that, and it was electricity and the energy of the crowd, bringing, whether the applause or the just the cheering or the participation, because my keynotes are very interactive. I don't just talk. It's also, I ask a lot of questions along the way, so I keep everybody engaged, and I want them to feel like that's an experience of us together. Again, it's transformative. It's not just me being the star. It's about community. So yes, that to me is a great way to change lives, just the same way as I do physically, but it's a different form of it. And I love that form. And I love also the change, because it's the evolution, the natural evolution of what I'm doing. And I've always been doing it. Now I just do it on a greater scale.
Right. Facts, facts, facts. So look, let's talk about your books real quick. So for your first book, whenever you decided to write it, and notice you said that it was during the time when you was your lowest, or going through that low time. And then, what gave you in that particular sense of for that book, was that more of that book helped you more so to find an outlet to get those emotions out that possibly were going through, or but because I'm only asking this because I can imagine you still going through a real angry, you know what I mean? If that even happened to you, just moment from the betrayal of the business partner to even, like the moment of having to sleep in your car. We could have been a really nice car though, but um yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah.
All right. Let me get. No, actually, you see, I didn't have anger. It's funny. I mean, yeah, resentment against him, of course. Did I think that I was going to go and punch him in the face? Well, yeah, that was kind of, like, hey, thank you for putting me there. But you see, in that process too, I got to be accountable for my choices, because I've seen him doing horrible things to other people. And I remember like being like, why? There was always a justification, because of course people doing that, they always justify their own actions for, that's someone else's fault. So he was always the victim of everybody. But
Mm,
no anger, I didn't. But I will tell you exactly how my book came about. I'm in New York City. I'm sitting at the bar in one of my favorite Mexican places. I'm friend with the owner. I'm at the bar and I'm watching, and they have like a bunch of TVs and no sound, but I'm watching that family that we all know that got famous from a certain video.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, we know who we're talking about. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
watching this TV, and I remember that was my moment. So it's very clear. For your question, is I say, okay, if that is what inspires the young generation, the youth, all the girls, they think BMS, just think that whatever you're
Yeah.
doing that's going to make you money, don't worry about passion, don't worry about alignment, don't worry about doing things purposefully. Just you can be a wreck, but as long as you make money and everybody knows about it, and you have millions of subscribers or followers, you're good. And I thought, this is horrible. No, I'm going to
Mm.
tell the girls, no, 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 no. Beauty is not a mean for that purpose. It's about how to align that with you. So now every morning is a fun experience, because now beauty turns into purpose. And that was absolutely definite with me. And I already had the idea of how to do it. And essentially, it's called Mind Your Hair. And that was the first one of the three of Mind Your, with the play on word, obviously. And Mind
Yeah.
Your Hair is essentially telling the girls of the world, listen, a successful hair makeover doesn't go by just you sit down, you're kind of happy. I don't know. You're not happy with the boyfriend, with the husband, the dog, the kids. I don't know. You have to do it mindfully. So let me give you the 7 steps on how to go about getting to have that. And the through line was really align yourself first. I mean, identify the core, and then you're able to expand it into what you look like. And that's actually how I got signed up by that keynote agent in New York, because she understood the through line super well. And she said, you're a female empowerment all the way. Your story is really beauty from the inside out. And I said, that's it. So, so that's how the
It's-
first book came about.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then, so the first book is led you to your first keynote. Am I picking that up, or like the lady? So, in order for you to get that keynote, I think that's important. How did she discover you in order to even offer you a keynote speaking position? Did you speak somewhere or whatever? How did that work?
Yeah, no, no, actually, that's a great question. That's true. I even, I mean, I forgot, but yeah, I kind of, No, actually, at the time, I belonged to this mastermind because I believe in improving self. So I always
Yeah.
belong into a group or have a mentor or have someone, a coach also for myself for different things. And then my friend recommended me because he was friend, he still is a friend with the owner of that mastermind. And at the time, it was a small group, 15 to 18 people, all entrepreneurs on all walk of life, but all done, digital products. Because that was the thing too. I was starting understanding digital because I'm like, how am I understanding digital if I'm working with clients and I need them and they're here, they need to sit with me and we understand each other by the trust we
Yeah.
build with one another. How am I doing that digital? I'm telling people, hold your hair like this and cut it that way. It didn't make sense. So I
Right.
started with that mastermind, and that's also who encouraged me to say a book is what's going to position you as an expert in your field. And that's going to be the portal. You're not going to make money. Don't think you're going to make $1 million, because if you do, forget it now. But if you think of it as an expensive business card, but as a way to tell people what you do, now that's going to have purpose. And in that group was this gentleman who said, oh, I just met this lady. He met her in maybe a convention or a show, something. Anyway, and she signed him up, and he was more on the wellness, wealth sort of thing. And then he's like, you need to meet with her. And I met with her, and we hit it off immediately. She read the book, small read, 93 pages, and she's like, I got the story. And I was glad because that was also the problem. Mind your hair. People were too like, oh, you're a hairstylist. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm doing a lot deeper work than that. And she understood it. It was great when she said, yes, beauty from the inside out. I'm like, okay, girl, you got it. Yes, that is it. So that's how she signed me up. And she said, female empowerment is one of my, forte. And I have all the organizations and groups that you can do. And at the time, I was starting mentoring high school girls in Astoria, New York. And it was a female empowerment through IT. It was a high school, and it was all walk of life, all, like financial
Yeah.
background and colors and all that. So it was great
Yeah.
because it was about, hey, girls, so let's unite together around IT, not about how much money you have, what family you come from, or what color you are.
Right, right. Which is important, man. I like that, man, because for you coming from, another country and coming here and then still seeing the value in all people and not just looking for a way to align yourself with because from the outside, when most people come here, they always have a perception of the people here. Right. And you have that conversation with them if they open up to you, because I've talked to so many different people from all over the world, Russia, Greece, whatever. And they've always told me like, hey man, from what they say, you're so different. Like people don't understand that the way that America or the way that people are portrayed in America is not necessarily the way people really are. It's a way to control the masses, right? And so I like that you come here from another country, especially European country, and you found that value in all people, all walks of life. All don't matter your color. It doesn't matter. What you're talking about is affecting everybody.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
funny you say that.
everything.
I'll add on to what you said because there was one thing that actually shocked me. That I remember the first time, when you go Social Security, when I was doing all my paperwork with everything. And
Mhm.
then, the time where it is, you're either Hispanic,
Hispanic, white.
African American, this, that, the other, Caucasian. And I was like, I remember this lady, and she was next to me. And she's like, honey, you okay? I'm like, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm stupid suddenly, but what do I put here? Because I'm like, probably I misunderstand. I mean, mind you, it was my first week in the US, although I spoke
Yeah,
English already perfectly fine. But
yeah,
I was like, what does that mean? She's like, well, honey, you're white. I'm like, oh, well, I know that. The mirror told me this morning, but what does that mean here? And she said, well, you need to just put a check on white or Caucasian, whatever.
yeah.
And then it started, and I remember, and until today, and it's 25 years later, but it's like, why? I mean,
Why?
I understand America is very data driven and they want everything to be recorded and all that because everything has to be, like quantified in every way. But I was like, but that still doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. I'm a human being. I mean, that's more how I look at it. So It's funny you say that. Yeah, that remember shocked me deeply. I was like, that is weird. Like, why? Why is it so important? Like, sometimes I would, I mean, literally do it purposefully not to put it, and then of course there would be, you forgot. I'm like, well, you know what I am, so why don't you do it yourself? So yeah.
Yeah, but now you're right. No, that's a question that even we ask over here. All of, like even then, because that was a question for me. Even when I filled out my first job application, and I was like, what? Why do we got to put this? Like, what
Right.
difference do this make? And then, it was explained to me, oh, that's just how they determine, how who's working. And I was like, that don't make sense to me, yo. I that because I remember that. Like, I asked that question myself the very first time I saw that, because as a kid, you don't deal with that type of thing at all. And it's just until you have to seek independence for yourself and start to work that you start to see, like, adults, y'all let this go like this. Y'all just around here filling this out. Y'all ain't do no kickback on this. Like, why does this matter? Because then it's been used against people for the longest when it comes down to employment, whether it comes down to wages, or even if you get the job or not, outside of your name as well. Your name, depending on how you named, it could definitely get you not, in the door. And that's one of the things about being here. I noticed this too about people who come here. It always changes their perspective of Americans whenever they realize that, um, you know, people are make it seem like the people that are here are lazy, right? Or like they don't do, or they don't try, or they don't want, right? Because and all of these different things, and then they realize is that, oh no, wait, hold on, they're being blocked from this. This is being separated. This is being denied because of this. This is that, and they being like when people realize that, then it becomes oh my God, I had no idea. But before that, it's always a preconceived judgment, right? And so I'm glad that you were one that came over here and saw the value in all people, man, right? Because, like you said, it's just certain things in life more like it's just it doesn't feel right. Nobody has to teach you certain things, and when it comes down to just you as a person. That's why I say it's so important for people to just be themselves. It's okay. There's a lot of people who are not. They're just following tradition or following what somebody else told them they're supposed to be. But let's do this, man, because I think people need to know more about you, right? Because what I'm going to get from this is that it's probably not just you're just probably not open, right? Just for a whole bunch of people just to be coming at you, someone, hey, help talk me off a ledge. But I'm sure there's some way that you offer some type of, maybe mentorship yourself to get people right in a certain position. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I say, I've always been passionate about it. Like I give on my own time. I mentor college kids. In fact, I was in Atlanta a week ago, and for my friend son, because I've been mentoring him for like over 5 years, and he went. He's a brilliant kid who went to Georgia Tech, and I mean, now he's like out and with flying colors and a great job. So I do that, and then I like to give my time, like I said, the high schools and all that. I'm definitely very touched by youth, like I speak in colleges and some of them have zero money. And it's like, it's not all about the money. I'm going to make money somewhere else. It's fine. Let's make something happen. But actually now I'm transitioning to, on occasion, I'm going to do webinars to where, you can offer that like to your leader, I mean, to your viewership, and then so you can have you can promote it into your thing. So I'm structuring it now because of course you have to make sure everything fits into
Mm-hmm.
each other and then everything is aligned with what I'm doing. But yeah, I always, and people are always like, when they ask me question, I always say, reach out to me. I'm busy, but within 24 hours I will answer your question. So reach out to me on social media, ask me your question, and you'll definitely get a really good answer, not some generic, whatever, AI animated, crafted thing. No, it's going to be about you, and I'll make you think. So I'm very, very available for my community, and that's how I grew it.
Yeah, facts. Because I'm definitely, whenever you open that webinar up, I'm definitely gonna jump in and take it. All
Of
my
course.
guests, I always, you know what I mean. I try to get myself lined up with because I always look at it from this perspective, right? Because I put it out there that I'm open to having conversations with people. And then when people respond, I just, I go with the people that respond. And the fact that you are one of those people and you come and just the value. That's why I say I just appreciate the people who come on the platform. Although, like when me and you had a conversation earlier about people who don't show up, it happens, right? People won't. They won't. They'll cancel on the day of and just leave you out there. But I still have to make the show go on regardless. I just have to do it by myself, right? But um, I just feel like in this particular day and age, there's so many people who need some type of guidance in the things that they don't see. Like it's very hard to see the things outside of you when you're only looking like this because of what's in front of you. So I think that's a lot of value in there. I see the value in what you bring. So I'm definitely going to be staying in contact so we could get that whenever you get the webinars going. I'm on off,
For sure.
help you market it, promote it, and get it going. I see that Simon Michael Cardinal, he shouted you out. He said you was
Oh,
the
did he?
grand
Yes,
guru.
yes. We did a
Yeah,
podcast together. Yeah.
yeah, and I had him on too. And
Oh, did
like
you?
you, yeah, I had him on. Then like you, he is like in the same way. It's the way that you guys approach the mindset. It's different, but it's something that I think that makes us unique, right? It's so many parts of the human brain, right? It's so many thoughts that people deal with. And the fact that there are people out here who can target those certain areas, it doesn't have to come in and be a one size fits all. That's what learning from each other is about. And that's why I think that we all were meant to be around each other, not be solo, not be on an island, not be those people that think that they didn't need people. And the fact that y'all are in service, right? Just like here, I'm in service. I open up my platform for people to
Absolutely, yeah.
tell their story. It's in service, right? And so I want to learn more. I'm going to be paying attention to everything you got going on, Patrice. I'm going to be honest with you, bro, because I feel it. And
Yeah, and then also, what we could do. I mean, and I've done it plenty with podcasters. Is do a session, and now it's going to be a question and answer. I mean, you'll do your thing, but then you bring your people in. Especially if you're using Streamyard, that means you're live. You got people coming from different platforms, and let's open that. Let's have questions. Let's give them a custom answer. Let's have that community built on that, because that authenticity, you cannot invent it. I mean, the moment I answer a question, I don't know what the question is, and I love that, because that's the true exchange of building
yeah,
a community and building each human being. So everybody can come out, with their question, of course, and limit it into a frame of time of whatever it is, an
yeah,
hour or
yeah,
whatever. But let's
yeah.
do that, and that's going to be fun. You change a little bit the format of your show, and then it brings a ton of value for the people around you.
Yeah, facts, because we can do webinars on StreamYard. So that is something that could be done. So that's fly. So yeah, let's put that together, man. We'll talk off camera, and we'll figure something out, because that is a good idea, and we'll set something up, because I think that's important for people who are in that particular space, especially people who have brands, because that's what we want. We want people who are entrepreneurs, who have brands, who got questions, right?
That's
So
it.
I'll definitely set that up and reach out to the people, and then we can work something out. So that's fly.
Beautiful.
So before we get out of here, man, we just gotta I just want you to let the people know, like, anything that you want them to know, like whether it's when your new book is coming out, how to get the last two books that you already did, and like I said, any engagements that you got coming up where people may be in the area and they want to stop through and holler at you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my name is Patrice Bizio, but I'm sure you're going to put my link in your
Yep.
yeah. So you'll see Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, my third book is coming out. So right now, as a promotion, I gave a part of the book. Actually, the link has the introduction and the first two chapters, because that's also a thing. It's not because I wrote it that I think it's just so perfect. I get great feedback. It's awesome, but it's great because it started igniting the conversation with everybody to, hey, how do I go about building my brand? Because I really don't know. So that is the engagement right now that I'm having with my community, which I do more heavily on LinkedIn, because people have a tendency to be more serious about the career and how to build himself up rather than social media that can be just a hot mess. So definitely more on that. But if someone reaches out to me, I'll send them the link gladly. I can have a conversation with them. They can give me the feedback, which I value dearly. And that's the beginning of that.
Yeah, facts, man. And I hope all the people that's watching, there was a lot of y'all that jumped on this evening. I want y'all to make sure, man, if y'all holler at them, just remember throughout this conversation that, you know, we all want them to try to figure out the things that we need to figure out to go to the next level, not to stay where we are, right? That's not where we want to be. We want to go to the next level. And so I do appreciate you. But before we get out of here, I know you said you was an artist. You didn't do those paintings behind you, did you? Or
I did.
you did?
I did.
I,
Yes,
I,
I
I
did.
had I've been like that question has been coming to my head the whole time, and I was like, "Yo, let me just
Yeah, there's a,
you did them.
there's a series of three. Yeah.
Oh, okay, because it's like a face. I know the one in the middle looks
Buddha.
like oh, that now I can see it now. I can see the little I can see it now over there. So you painted those.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first moved here, actually, I couldn't find the art I wanted. I've always done that. And when I was doing a lot of real estate, I actually painted a lot of my art. That's actually started out that way. We had a project, and I was like, I can't find the abstract I want, the colors I want, the energy out of that painting. And then I had an idea, and I just did 3 canvases in one time because it had to be a series, and they were with lines and arrows, and there was a concept in my head, and I was like, and then it happened when I sold that house. We sold the house with my business partner. That was one of the first project we did. And people were like, "Oh my God, I love the art. By the way, what gallery did you get it in?" And I was like, "You're looking at him. I just did that for fun." And they were like, "You did that for fun?" I'm like, "Yeah." And it was great. It was therapeutic. It was like I was in my music. I'm painting. I'm doing oil because I love oil. And so it was very, and this one though, the canvas, instead of canvas, it's wood planks. So I had
You look like
an
wood,
artist, I mean, like
yeah.
a craftsman doing the all the wood planks, and then assembled together, and then I was able to do my thing.
Hey man, that is fly, man. I'm so glad I didn't let you get out of here without answering that question right there, because yeah, that's super fly back there, man. I like that a lot, man. You might have to you got a whole lot of things that you got going on with you, man. Multi-gifted, multi-talented. I like that, bro. Them paintings is ill though. I'm not gonna lie. Well, look, yo, Patrice, I definitely appreciate you coming on the platform, man.
Please,
Thank
of
you
course.
so much, man, for real. And to all of y'all that watching, I thank y'all so much, man. And all the comments and the feedback, thank y'all so much. And just know that each and every week, y'all, I try to talk to some of the world's most interesting people, and we're gonna continue to do so. And so for all of y'all out there, man, please stay fly out there. And remember, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, y'all, peace.